Another week, boys, and another TWAB. Now, before we get started with this week at Bungie, guys, this is not our usual TWAB settings. A couple of things happened. Number one, the GCX event is going on today where all of these Twitch streams are raising money for St. Jude. It's an incredible thing, guys, and at the end of the day, even though gaming is an incentive for all of us, giving these kids a better life is so important, man. I'm getting choked up over here, dude, watching this stream. You got little kids that are fighting this. So if you get a chance and you come across a GCX stream this week, please donate. It goes to a great cause. With that being said, though, there was some donation goals that Bungie had in place today that all of you guys absolutely smashed. Like within an hour and a half, $500,000 was raised by just Bungie, and it's because of you guys. So big shout out to every single one of you that donated. Thank you, thank you. But let's talk about what was revealed to us. So first up, there was some concept art that was thrown at us. Really cool. We actually got to see live art made right before our eyes. Now for the 100K goal, it was to release the TWAB early, which is what we're going to be covering here soon, or what we're in the process of covering. The 200K goal was concept art for the Destiny 2 Beyond Light. And I think the concept art was from Lorraine here with Mars Soft. So I believe what they're trying to say is that Destiny 2 Beyond Light is going to incorporate Mara in some kind of way. It has to, right? Which is a hell of a twist for sure. But where darkness is, Mara is pretty much right around the corner. And with Mara, Aldrin. Just letting you know, fellas, we might actually come face to face again with Aldrin, who's not really Aldrin anymore. Now for the 300K goal, they revealed a legendary weapon for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. This one was interesting. And by interesting, I mean, I don't know what the hell it is. I have no idea. It's like a combination of weapons here. I'm getting like shotgun vibes slash trace rifle vibes. I'm not even going to begin to guess what that is. When we actually zoom in on it, I don't really see any foundries, or at least nothing that I recognize. There is a little emblem or the icon there in the middle of the weapon. So if anybody has any idea what foundry this weapon is from, that might give us a little more indication of what this weapon's going to be. But this is just going to be a legendary, and it honestly looks unique enough to be an exotic. Now for the 400K goal, which was smashed in a little over an hour, Luke Smith came online to reveal an exotic weapon for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Now some people were complaining they wanted to see a new exotic, but I like that he brought up this exotic because he's right. It does complete the holy trinity of hand cannons, and that is Hawkmoon. Hawkmoon is making a return this coming up fall with Beyond Light, and I've actually just watched Luke Smith talk about Hawkmoon in the past, and he's always talked about how difficult of a weapon it is because of its perk, because of holding aces, where 2 random bullets in your magazine deal considerable damage, as well as luck in the chamber, where 1 random bullet in the magazine causes considerable damage. And sometimes what would happen is, imagine all of these bullets stacking. So the 2 random bullets stack into 1, and then luck in the chamber also stacks into it, thus allowing this hand cannon back in D1, at least in year 1, to one-shot folks. Yes, it can one-shot. It's a 140 round per minute hand cannon, and it would one-crit people when you got the right stack. The problem is knowing when you got the right stack, right? It's all RNG based. And he brought up how difficult it was for them to bring back Hawkmoon because of that. But it appears they found a workaround, or they found some other way to bring back Hawkmoon where it's not as RNG based. But just know, Hawkmoon is making a return, completing that holy trinity between Last Word and Trinity. And that was like the 3 exotic hand cannons in year 1. You had Hawkmoon, you had Thorn, and you had Last Word. And then there was a phase there where all 3 of those were dumb powerful. I mean, I'm talking 2-tapping with Last Word powerful. 2-tapping, fellas. You want to talk about a time to kill in the game that you couldn't even keep up with? That was it. It was quite disgusting. It was also a hell of a lot of fun. Now with Hawkmoon returning, it does make us question whether or not 140s are going to get that buff that we've been asking for. Are they going to get the forgiveness buff that we've all been begging for the better part of a year? Looks like there is some potential to that. Normally what Bungie does is they don't really buff anything sandbox wise until they introduce an exotic in that associated archetype, which is why I say things like, hey, 110 round per minute hand cannons get buffed this season or next. Just get ready. We've got a 110 exotic hand cannon coming to us. A little bit of first curse action. I don't know. Now, as far as the 500K goal that Bungie also smashed today, what is that secret stretch goal? Well, turns out Cosmo and DMG have to get another tattoo together. Luke Smith gave an excellent suggestion. He calls it the Vault of Ass. Essentially, Cosmo will get half a triangle on one of his ass cheeks, and DMG will also get half the triangle on his ass cheek. That way, when they push their ass cheeks together, it will make the Vault of Glass. Fellas, I would lose it if they actually get that tattoo. So guys, those are the goals, and yes, they've been killed. Thank you all so very much. And again, shout out to everyone that's hosting these events, and a big shout out to all the kids out there that are staying strong. Now moving on, another patch in the pipe. That's right, guys. We have a hotfix 2.9.01, which is coming out next Tuesday. It involves a couple of things. They're going to be fixing an issue where sprint would cancel if players press the sprint action multiple times. Antaeus Nerf is going to finally get nerfed, removing super energy bonus and increased sprint time required to activate. So from what I've heard, it's going to be a second and a half extra longer of sprint time before you can activate Antaeus Nerf. This means for those moments where you activate it and then you sprint for a little bit longer and then activate it again, there's going to be a slight delay there. On top of that, anything that you block won't give you super energy. Doesn't sound like a major change. I know a lot of people are like, whoa, Antaeus Nerf still going to be broken. I think it's still going to be good for those single shots that you actually block. But as far as aping goes, that extra second and a half might be enough to kind of pause that, right? Or at least enough for you to be able to counter them when coming out of their initial slide. On top of that, we're getting some fixes to our mods, issues with things like Breach Resonator not granting its benefits, Guardian Angel not granting its benefits, Volatile Conduction mods, which had the wrong buff text and icon while its perk was active, as well as a number of Season of Arrival mods that were available to players who hadn't unlocked them. Also some fixes to our finishers, some general fixes as well as investment fixes, and of course, trials. Fix an issue where players were unable to visit the lighthouse when completing a flawless passage. As such, Trials of Osiris will be available once more June the 19th, 2020. So it was canceled last week. Tomorrow it should be back, and we should be able to go to the lighthouse. Hooray. On top of that, error fixes for beaver errors are supposed to be addressed next Tuesday as well. Now back to the TWAB. Beyond Light pre-order bonuses. Yeah, I have not pre-ordered Beyond Light yet, but here they are, man. You get a sexy ghost, you get some emblems, and you get an exotic freeze tag emote. Oh, you can pick these up from Raul, and I gotta say, they look pretty juicy, especially the emblems, man. Now, if you didn't know, Forge matchmaking has been updated this past week. That's right. Halfway through Monday, Forges were addressed, and you can no longer AFK Forge farm, or at least not like before. There are some people out there that figured out how to do macros, but for the most part, not many people have figured it out, you know? And granted, Umbral Ingrams are actually really easy to get, pretty much through all activities. I go through one gaming session inside of Crucible, I come back with a full inventory of Umbrals. So it's not like they're difficult things to obtain. I think the only difficult part is just getting the God roll that you want. I'm still hunting down a guillotine. I've must have opened at least 40 or 50 Umbral Ingrams, and I still have not gotten the God roll. I mean, I've gotten good rolls, but not the God roll, right? Moving on though, let's talk about raid gear and max power levels. I know a lot of us have been wondering about this. Armor is sunset. We briefly talked about sunsetting yesterday or the day before actually. I'm not a fan of sunsetting when it comes to our armor. I understand it with weapons, but armor, it annoys me. Bungie though seems to be doing this to push the raid on people. They want people to raid more, as both the Last Wish and Garden Salvation raid armors will not sunset until season 14. So this season is season 11, next season is season 12, Christmas into March is season 13, and the next summer will be season 14. Am I getting my time right? Season 14. Okay, so essentially a year. And who knows? We might get to next year and they may be like, okay, listen, your armor pieces are gonna last another year. But additionally, all armor from all of the Destiny 2 raids will be updated retroactively with Season of Arrivals, and will have a season 14 max power level. So there's still definitely a reason to do all the other raids as of now, which is an excellent thing. My only complaint when it comes to sunsetting, and we're going to talk about it more when we just break down our entire sunset thoughts video kind of deal, is I don't want the grind to just purely be for stat rolls anymore, right? I love that every year there's a change to armor that makes you go, ooh, I gotta go for that next set. Ooh, I need that next set. Sure, I can keep using what I'm using, but that next set though has got this mod slot or this change or this armor evolution that we haven't seen before. You see, what I'm concerned about is that I don't want our armors to feel stagnant. I don't want to get to the point where it's like the only reason why you're grinding for the next set of armor is purely for that max power level. And where that may be okay from time to time, that shouldn't be the sole focus of why we want to grind out new armor, or at least the way I look at it, and maybe I'm just looking at it wrong. Regardless though, it's a reality. Sunsetting's a reality, guys, and it will affect us, for good or for bad. Outside of that, guys, we have a number of known issues that are affecting people. Grenade launchers causing crashes when used inside of Crucible. What? Prophecy Dungeon solo triumph, not unlocking for players who solo the Prophecy Dungeon. That's gotta suck. A lot of known issues, guys, that don't appear to be addressed in next week's update, but it is some known issues that Bungie is looking into. Before I let you go, though, I think I made a mistake. 2.9.01 actually went live today, okay, guys? Today. I said it was coming out next Tuesday. No, Antaeus Wards has been addressed today, as well as all this other stuff that was listed in 2.9.0.1. 2.9.0.2 is coming next week, which they will provide details to that either later this week or probably when the patch notes actually arrive next week. Regardless, though, as of now, everything you see in this 2.9.0.1 update is live. Sprint should be working for you. All these associated mods should also be working for you, and Antaeus should be nerfed. So we're going to be covering Antaeus probably sometimes this evening, if not first thing in the morning. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.